Alright, I'm gonna get some water real quick and feed my cat. What, kitty? Guess who still feels like shit? This guy. Alright. Alright. But yeah, it's been a while since I think we're gonna have a long Minecraft phase. I do want to set, like, in the future, I do want to set up not only tree farming areas, I also want to, like, have flatten out the island and have a pathway everywhere. Holy lag city. Jesus Christ, dude, I hate old versions. I'm getting 25 frames per second. This isn't even because I have a shitty computer, it's just because old versions of Minecraft just ran poorly. Like on one point, oh my god, what is possibly taking up all of this? And that is fine. I can run 1.21 solid 60 because that's what I have my max frame set to. Oh boy. Oh yeah, I needed redstone. Damn. Oh well, we'll just do that later. Dude, what could possibly be this laggy? What happens if I... Yeah, I just want to kill my PC. Oh boy. Oh my piece. Yeah, let's turn that back. Yeah, there's no difference. Let's just turn, basically. Oh wow, that's actually kind of... Damn, all it takes is no render distance to be able to run this shitty version. I can only hope that it gets better than 1.3. I say knowing damn well it won't because old Minecraft is mid. Like anything at 1.0 is nice. Like I gotta give it that because it's like, oh, the end is now there's the end and that's kind of cool. The end is awesome. And then anything between that and 1.8 just kind of stinks because anything before that I just can't get Optifine on. I'm on tiny render distance. What could possibly be this laggy? Actually, if I'm gonna dig dirt with a pickaxe, I'm gonna use one that doesn't have fortune on it. Oh. This is actually one of the worst pickaxes. Okay. Yeah, that also insta mining isn't a thing, so sometimes that'll just happen. That's why I'm not taking on mega projects yet, just because I want to wait until probably either 1.9 for that, because then end cities come out and it's easy to get loot, or 1.14 because the whole villager trading fiasco is a thing. So it's probably going to be 1.9. Yeah, what could possibly be this laggy? Let's dupe our chiseled stone bricks. Oh my god, my fucking ow. I'm dying. Baby, yeah, Drizzy. Yeah, you know what's great? I signed up for something a long time ago that I can't back out of, and the group that I'm with is, my ex. The two really harsh breakup recent guys, like things. I don't know, dude. That one friend that's way too woke. Like, and I'm a little right wing, but I said, dog, I'm not, like, frog isn't a pronoun. And he got way too pissed, bro. I can smell the estrogen off of him. Like, holy. This is my hell. I'm just gonna try and bribe the teacher and see what can I do to get this out. What can I do to get out of this? 'Cause I don't think I have it in me. I'm just gonna be for real. I wish there was a trash slot in Minecraft. That's one thing I like about Terraria is the trash slot. I don't think there should be a hot. Actually, no, there should be a hotkey to it. It's just that also the ability to favorite items should be a thing. That's my feed. Get started. AI Minecraft Iceberg. Yeah, we're watching this. Oh my god, I forgot what I was even doing. I'm so tired. This hurts.
Seemingly out of Oasis was announced on X in October of 2020. Oasis. Okay, this is the talk of the town. Everyone's mentioning this. Everyone's posting about this. This game isn't real. This is all AI generated. This is the new AI Minecraft game. According to them, it's the very first playable game fully generated in AI. But it's not an original game, of course. It is a full simulation of Minecraft. As a relatively passive Minecraft fan, this really caught my interest. The ease of playing it on browser made myself, and many others, at least give it a try. And while it's obviously not quite the greatest gaming experience I have ever had, it was definitely more than just a novelty. The gameplay itself seemed to capture this weird feeling I have about Minecraft.
Damn.
Those memories came flooding back to my mind, especially some I had from playing Minecraft Pocket Edition Lite on my iPod over a decade ago. There exists this general and currently very popular idea of Minecraft nostalgia and its scariness, shown by all the discussion about old versions of it on YouTube and horror projects as well. And for a brief moment, at least, Oasis really fit in with that view. It was just pretty fun. Of course, there's more than just the low render distance and glitchy visuals to discuss here. While Oasis is, at its core, a mix of a tech demo and an AI showcase, the Minecraft community has, as they often do, surprised us with what they can do with it. Trying to beat the game, finding out exploits, and creating awesome things with seemingly no proper tools to do so are just some of the things that have popped up. That's why I wanted to make this iceberg today, to show off a bunch of fun facts, but also lesser known things about this game. In and of itself, Oasis might not fascinate me, but what the community has done with it certainly should. With that said, I'll skip a lengthy introduction and an explanation of the iceberg chart format, as I think YouTube is past that by now. This is an original iceberg created by me with some help from This Dimension Phil. I will say that if you enjoy this video, you should subscribe to the Seabutter channel to stick around for more icebergs and fun content, as well as helping me reach 100,000 subs. For now though, load up your favorite game to play while you listen to this video, get comfortable, and let's get going.
Damn.
With the very first tier of this iceberg. Oasis, Etched, and Deckard AI. Oasis is a Minecraft clone which replicates the game using generative AI. It was created in a joint effort between two companies, Etched, a computer hardware startup, and Deckard AI, an AI. The project started in 2022 when a co-founder of Etched met a co-founder of Deckard. The name Oasis originates from Ready Player One, and it was the VR world used by characters in that series. In that book and movie, it stood for Ontologically Anthropocentric Sensory Immersive Simulation. This fascinating demo put both of the groups in the spot. The game is still a demo, running on NVIDIA GPUs, but will eventually transition to SOBU, an AI chip under development by Etched. This will help them release a full version of Oasis and potentially other future games. Trailer. On October 31st, 2024, Etched released a 25-second long trailer of Oasis. It was a fantastic introduction to the game, but many people think, myself included, that the trailer looks a whole lot better than an average experience is usually when playing the game. The trailer pretty cleverly uses short segments of very controlled gameplay, where the character generally keeps the whole scene in frame most of the time, making the game stay stable. Although it does show a clip of the player looking up and back down, fully changing their environment, but even that looks pretty smooth. On the whole, it was a pretty good trailer. 5-minute timer. Each playthrough is only limited to about 5 minutes to allow people to take turns. In the future, as processing becomes more efficient, this limitation should probably go away, but for the foreseeable future, it's here. For me, it doesn't really detract from the experience because you can't really store things in your quote-unquote world anyway. It also turned into kind of an interesting feature, adding a difficulty element to any of your builds or speedruns, both of which we will of course talk about later. However, what's kind of interesting is that at one point it was a full 15 minutes long, probably cut down to let more people use it. Starting images. To play Oasis, you have to start with a specific image in Minecraft. You can either pick from several provided on the website, or, interestingly enough, upload your own. upload facilitate getting to the end or nether much faster, or being in an area that would otherwise be difficult to visit. Discord. There's a Discord server for the project called GEITEV. It's a super cool source for project updates, bug fixes, support, and community in general. It's also where many contests are hosted. When you load up the game and see those contest opportunities right there, you can go to the server for people's submissions, which are super cool. In general, it's a really neat place to see the game, and it's where I found
Wow, my cat's a little slow.
So I highly recommend you check it out if you're curious, and if you do play a lot and record your gameplay, you can head over there to show off any discoveries that you make. Next frame prediction. Next frame prediction is ultimately what drives Oasis. The easiest way I feel it can be explained is that the AI guesses what should come up in the next frame of gameplay based on what it currently sees. It was trained on millions of hours of Minecraft footage, so it uses that repertoire of experience to imagine what you'll see next. So if you're not moving, your field of view stays the same, because the AI understands that things in Minecraft don't really change without you interacting with them. But start to move, and it will start to predict. That's how you can leverage blocks to create new things. If you have something like wood, Oasis might use that next frame prediction to make a village or a house. If you come across what looks like a mob, next frame prediction suggests that it should move.
Alright.
An interesting factoid about next frame prediction that we'll talk about a little bit later is anything orange. If you see something orange, next frame prediction can lead to the generation of a nether environment, as if all the information you have is this one frame, it is a valid assumption to suggest you're looking at lava in the nether, if that's all the information you have to go on. The game doesn't store memory, which is why if you do a full 360, the environment is completely different. Every single thing you see is a prediction based off what you previously saw, and not any established logic or code. Challenges. In the entry about the Discord server, I mentioned challenges. These challenges, or contests, are put on by the Deckard team, even including cash prize. Previous contests have included building houses or making the best looking build when starting doing custom world. If you're interested in doing it, you should record your gameplay and post it on the server under the contest channel. There's also smaller challenges like punching the Ender Dragon or acquiring specific items. Mobs. One of the absolute craziest things about Oasis is how mobs spawn and act. Mobs in this game are super weird in general. They often look amalgamated, or are born out of or turn into regular blocks. I often see sheep just turn into wool blocks or even a bed, depending on how you look at them. You'll often see common mobs spawn in, but there are some recordings of more rare mobs popping up too. In my experience, they'll often turn into something else or disappear very quickly, so if you manage to get a hold of one and want to keep it, you should try and keep it in frame the entire time while observing it. There are also some quirks about specific mobs.
Damn.
For example, cows have this weird behavior where they multiply very quickly, growing into huge swaths of beef. People theorize this has to do with how passive mobs like these are often seen in Minecraft footage in farms that house hundreds of them. So naturally, when the AI was trained on that footage, the idea of cows not being alone or in groups of 1, 2, or 3, and instead huge numbers of them mixing range, is pretty cool. Some mobs have actually never been observed yet, and the community is actively hunting for proof of them. Numbers of them was in range. It's pretty cool. Some mobs have actually never been observed yet, and the community is actively hunting for proof of them. Dreaming. Reading articles about Oasis, or hearing anyone describe it in general, the term dreaming comes up all the time. At first, I really got tired of hearing it, especially in the context of gaming journals, because I just thought it was something that people were repeating. but when I really think about it, it makes a lot of sense. This has a lot in common with dreams, at least in my opinion. Punching blocks can take forever, sort of like how punches in dreams are extremely slow. Your speed can decrease, or you can start falling or flying out of nowhere, often something that happens in dreams. Low resolution kind of feels like dreaming too. Often I feel like I dream like I don't have my contacts in, which is a really weird thing. Maybe that's just me. But the weightlessness, sudden changes in strength and speed, blurriness, haze, and hallucinations do all feel dreamlike.
Oh, God verdammt. Okay.
Hello Fresh, America's #1 meal kit.
I was raised to believe in grace, that we can be transformed into a better person.
Hell yeah. Okay, so then we... Okay, I'm out of wood. That didn't take very long, did it? Only bruh. World's worst stupid tree.
Spin reset. Part of next frame prediction means there's no memory involved with this game. Aspects of your world aren't stored anywhere. So when you look away from something, it's gone forever. Or at the very least, it will be changed. So if you don't like the environment, one way to change it is by using what I'd call a spin reset. It's literally just spinning and seeing your world be different. It's fun to play around with. In my opinion, the speed at which you turn can also affect how radically it changes. Looking straight up and then down also accomplishes the same effect. Item switching. Both while in your inventory and when actually on the ground, items can switch into other items. Blocks are very fluid, changing into similar looking things. I often see this with anything wooden, fences especially. My theory with wooden items in particular is that items which have more similar items to themselves change more.
I need more glowstone.
Very distinct items, or items which don't have similar counterparts,
Yeah, I need more glowstone.
change because Oasis can't confuse them with anything else. But things like wood, which have dozens of varieties, can be found in many shapes and sizes, can be interpreted and reinterpreted very quickly. Specific connections. When playing this game, there's sort of an art of manipulating objects to generate new ones, or even entire environments, biomes, and dimensions. One of the most common connections, which we'll talk about in its own entry, is honeycomb. It can be used to transport to the nether, and is one of the quickest ways of doing so. You can also use wood and paved paths to generate villages. Sandstone and endstone, two blocks that are very similar visually, can turn into each other as well, so taking advantage of sandstone is a great way to generate end environments. Nether portals. Functioning nether portals are possible to make and use in Oasis. They are a much less efficient way of getting to the nether than by just using a reddish block and letting it take up your screen, but you can still pull it off. Any blackish mass can also form a portal, and you'll see portal effects, which are super cool. You'll see that blurry haze effect that you see when entering a portal. They don't always actually generate the nether or work, which I think is pretty funny, and you can even get stuck in them, ending in this purple and black zone. But if you're lucky, you'll actually pass through just like a nether portal. Taking damage. You can't really die in the traditional sense in this game. Nothing should stop you to force playing. We know that you can take damage, and you can take damage and lose all your hearts, but nothing special follows. The community theorizes that we might be able to see the death effect, where you see red and sort of zoom out directionally, like when you die in normal Minecraft. A big reason we cite for suggesting this is possible is the portal effect that we see. We know the game can comprehend visual effects on screen when something happens to you. We just haven't seen it yet. Placing entire rows. A building technique I've come to use occasionally is placing one or two wooden blocks and then swiping the camera down the line to generate more. It can be used to build the foundation of a house really quickly. I can't say specifically why this happens, but I have a theory. If you think about Minecraft, and take wood for example, it's a block that, more often than not, touches another piece of wood. If you have a wooden house, and you look at it from one end, the only blocks that don't touch other wood blocks are the two on the end. So in a 10 by 10 house, for example, only the 4 corner blocks have the access points. For that reason, the game sometimes assumes where there is one wooden block, there is more, on average. I know this is a bit of a weird explanation, but you can take advantage of this idea to build very quickly.
And we got 20 glowstone. That should be enough to fund the rest of the build.
Achievement. Fascinatingly, you can actually get achievements in Oasis. As you might imagine, they're just like the rest of the text in the game, where you don't often make out specific words, but you can clearly tell this is an achievement. Boss ballers. In a very similar manner to achievements, another thing you can encounter are boss ballers. They're super common if you end up at the end, and the same way you can't make out text in achievements, you can't make it out here. I might be making this up, but I personally think you could make out 2 separate words here. Like, these appear to be 2 different capital letters, which makes sense, obviously, as this is supposed to be the Ender Dragon. Maybe that's just me, but I think I sort of think you could make out 2 separate words here. Like, these appear to be 2 different capital letters, which makes sense, obviously, as this is supposed to be the Ender Dragon. Maybe that's just me, but I think I sort of see it. Skyblock. I was really curious to see if a skyblock world would be possible in Oasis, and it's been tried, but unfortunately, it went about as swimmingly as one might expect. A player named Fern did a bit of research into this, having a few interesting observations. Often, the AI would turn the background into water or snow, so you actually had to start with a picture of the skyblock island at night. However, as you can see in this video they posted, it doesn't last too long one way or another. The AI will simply start to build the world surrounding the starting island. I found it pretty cool. I mean, it makes sense that this would be impossible, but it would be cool to see an update where the AI does a better job with maintaining the void, instead of instantly trying to fill it. Flying. By either falling or occasionally looking straight up into the sky, you can begin to fly. It's quite janky, but occasionally it will work. People have also managed to get fireworks into the game and use them occasionally as well. It's not super reliable and doesn't last long, but it can happen.
Oh my god, that's why it's laggy. My computer's unplugged.
Honeycomb is one of the most important blocks in Oasis, on account that they are reasonably common and have a lava-like appearance up close. By tricking the game into seeing lava, you can usually trick it into creating the nether. Honeycomb nether transfers are much more efficient than trying to enter the nether officially by using a portal. Honeycomb transfers can also take you to new dimensions in this version of the game, but we'll talk about those soon enough. Honeycomb can also generate and propagate abnormally, like in this video. Some have suggested that the relative uncommon appearance of honeycomb in the overworld could be why the AI so frequently assumes that blocks of that color must be lava, thus generating the nether. But that hypothesis isn't perfect, as there definitely was enough honeycomb training data to use. It's probably just much simpler to interpret the color itself. There's also the chance that you can generate a full honeycomb dimension as well. But again, we'll talk about that later. Chat. You can actually get the chat to appear in Oasis. If you start with an image that has chat open, it'll usually work. But it can also happen on its own, perhaps even in conjunction with achievements. As you can imagine, the text is unreadable, except for that example I just showed. Even in conjunction with achievements. As you can imagine, the text is unreadable, except for that example I just showed. I think that right there has the capacity to be one of the biggest things about this game. Just the idea that even though no one is with you, and that the laws of this world are not what we're used to in Minecraft.
Uh-oh.
But then still, someone,
Oh, yeah.
something, is trying to make contact with you.
Dog, it's just AI. It's just not that deep.
Right. Let's see if there's treasure puffs. Whoa!
I don't know what to build for this wall. Probably just gonna do something similar to this.
Forzy is a YouTuber who uploaded 2 extremely impressive videos of Oasis gameplay that got super popular. In the first, he travels to the Nether using honeycomb, and then, randomly, at the end of the video, finds blocks which form a stronghold, but he loses it pretty quickly, without traveling to the end. It was still really important, however, because it helped propel the idea of speedrunning in the game. Though we haven't seen someone beat Oasis in the traditional sense, speedruns are now often a race to get to the Nether, the End, or both. It also sort of introduces the concept of using multiple tries in a single speedrun, as in that video, his world stops after the first 5-minute timer expires and starts again. His second video is a lot more interesting though. Forzy quickly builds up a house using that wood placing technique that I mentioned earlier, but when you look at it up close, something fascinating occurs. All of a sudden, the yellowish wood turns into an end island. It doesn't last very long, but I think it may have been the first recorded instance of generating the end in that manner. This version of the end quickly turns into something called the piss dimension, which we'll talk about soon.
The piss dimension.
It demonstrated a fascinating connection between wood and endstone, which could hopefully be leveraged in future speedruns. The rest of that video is also neat, showing off a cool portal sequence. Forzy hasn't uploaded since November 7th when that video was posted, so maybe he'll get back after it soon. Strange item names. As we've touched on, text generated in Oasis, like any AI text, is rather finicky. Sometimes you can make bits of it out, like in chat and in boss bars, but not often. Item names seem to have it the worst though, probably because in Minecraft footage, item names change much more rapidly as people move through their inventory. This contrasts, say, boss bars and achievements, because when those texts pop up, they tend to remain static. There are some recurring patterns in naming conventions of blocks. One example is dirt, which tends to be named Dick, or however you would pronounce that. F3 menu. The F3 or debug screen will randomly pop up when playing. It doesn't have any connection with the actual it just appears to be. Tooltips. Just like the F3 menu, tooltips have been known to occasionally pop up as well. Actual Oasis series. Something that popped up a bunch while I researched this
There we go.
is an actual Minecraft video series on YouTube called Minecraft Oasis by I As Cupcake,
Oh,
going
boy.
all the way back to 2013. It's popular enough that you might run into it yourself when looking into the game, so I thought I'd point it out here. It had 186 uploads, which is definitely a lot. I'm certainly not going to watch it all, it's well over 100 hours long, but I'm curious, if anyone has watched it, tell us some fun facts about it in the comments below. Teleporting. Teleporting is another common phenomenon in the game. It could be defined in a few different ways. For example, if you suppose that the creatures or structures disappeared when you look away, then that counts as teleporting. But it has to do more with yourself. Sometimes it's clear that you've just done a spin reset or something like that. But other times the changes are so drastic or sudden that it really does. Depending on what you're looking at, once it starts changing, it just keeps going. And you just go to an entirely different place. Block mod. use a mob for an actual block.
Boner.
One way or another, either by turning a mob into a block or a block into looks a
Okay.
bit like a villager's face. It leads to a lot of these abominations. We'll visit some of
Okay, so we need more. We need more fucking sand.
either by playing with the angle of how you see the mob, or even just letting them decay naturally. They'll all morph into weird sorts of things. Empty rooms. Another phenomenon from the game is the generation of these empty rooms. Often you find a structure that honestly just look like caves. Dark rectangular spaces containing nothing. As always, like anything, they'll often decay to something radically different very quickly. But just for a moment, you'll be trapped in these empty spaces with no exit. They give off a backroom sort of vibe. Strongholds seem to do this a lot, not generating actual strongholds with mazes and such, but instead these dark, empty spaces. This probably just has to do with how the game interprets that structure, but I couldn't tell you the specifics behind it.
Enter a brave new world with a GMC Hummer EV. Powerful performance and revolutionary technology keep you ready for any mission. At C Marvel Studios, Captain America: Brave New World, only in theaters.
Piss dimension.
The piss dimension.
At last, we've arrived at the entry where I may discuss the long-fabled piss dimension. The piss dimension, also known as the yellow dimension, or perhaps simply just piss, is the name given to a phenomenon in Oasis. The piss dimension is a super common thing to experience while playing Oasis. There are a ton of different ways to enter the piss, but a super common one is by being in the end, as endstone eventually turns yellow and can encompass your entire screen. I denote this phenomenon endstone piss decay. However, one does not require exclusively endstone to create piss. As in Oasis, piss can come from anything. Seriously, there's actually people speedrunning it now. The piss dimension is super weird because it doesn't always seem to resemble actual blocks, but rather just swaths of yellow. Not only that, but you can get trapped in it, and it can be very hard to leave. It can also spawn as just a wall or a floor, for example. It's a lot easier to get trapped in the piss dimension if you allow the piss to take up your whole view. So if you see the piss start to generate, you can try and look away towards any of your screen where something else is visible. This has become a huge joke in the community too. If you join the Discord server, for example, you will see it everywhere. Remember, there is no gold, there is no honeycomb, there is no sand, there is only piss. Discord priority. There was a time where you could get priority skipping a line to play faster than this by joining the Discord server. I don't think this is actually available anymore though, as the lines have gotten a lot shorter in general. Copyright. AI copyright law is something that people do not want to touch right now, and that kind of has to do with the legal profession as a whole. Law is a conservative profession, and innovation always works many steps faster than the law, leading it to catch up. And precedent is extremely important in law, where the result of one case can be followed for years and years, even decades to come. Radical changes in law are few and far between. So a lot of people are kind of waiting around for precedents to be set with regard to AI, and that leaves a lot of questions for the time being. One of the biggest is the ownership of the data that AI models are trained on. Sure, it was publicly available, but much of it was sourced on YouTube. So do they have a clue to what the AI knows? What about the millions of creators who made the Minecraft footage? What about Microsoft in general, who has in fact stated that the build of the game is unauthorized? Furthermore, can it even be considered a copyright violation when Deadbush themselves aren't actually executing any stolen code, but instead just making visual representations of the game? We'll have to see how the future unfolds and how these questions start to get answered, because I'm genuinely curious to see how this will shape out in the coming years. But one way or another, it will not be fun, and will probably be rife with argument. Smoke particles. Smoke particles can occasionally appear near animals, as if you've killed them. Sometimes, too, they just show up. I think the idea of it just popping up is super creepy, and I wonder why the game generates them. Are there creatures that you can't see? Or is this the gameplay of interpreting our own playing behavior? Does this signify just how many animals have been killed indiscriminately by Minecraft?
No, it doesn't. It's because when there's an animal nearby, sometimes the game's like, shit, smoke appears when an animal dies. Smoke, so we put smoke.
I've mentioned this and shown it a few times now, but nether portal effects are one of the only documented visual effects you can see on screen. Probably because in Minecraft gameplay, this is a lot more common than, say, potions or death. There's definitely a hunt for whatever other effects we can find, so if you do manage to encounter one, you should definitely upload it to the Discord server. ARG. Piss Dimension Phil, who once again I need to thank for their help on this iceberg, started an ARG about Oasis. It appears really fascinating, seeking to add some genuine lore and story elements to some of the things we see in Oasis, including, in particular, the Piss Dimension. I won't theorize on it too much here because I do actually want people to check it out, and it's very short and still developing, and you can find it linked in the video description, so go check that out after this video. It's like a lot of investigations in backrooms and other similar projects, but all framed in Minecraft, and I do think it's super cool. It's ongoing, like I said, so once more, make sure to check it out.
Fancy meats of field and ocean. 2 for $6.99.
At Seth, we gave back $55 million. The credit union wanted to say thanks to members.
Minecraft PE Lite. From the very start, this game reminded me so much of Minecraft PE Lite, a game I can't even play because I can't figure out the password to my original iPod Touch, but also because it's a real hassle to load up a build of that version. But there was a lot that I felt these versions of Minecraft had in common. For starters, one thing few people remember about Minecraft PE Lite is how you couldn't save it in progress. Your world, your build, everything was gone when you closed the tab, just like in Oasis. I actually remember locking my iPod with the app open in an effort to keep whatever world I was working on alive, which worked like 50% of the time. Another thing about Minecraft PE was that you played this pseudo-survival creative mode. There were mods and you could take damage, from what I remember, but you didn't gather resources. You just had an inventory full of blocks that you could place infinitely. There was also this super limited render distance, leading to a sort of fog that accompanied the game. Playing Minecraft Oasis feels like my ancient memories of Minecraft PE Lite. I couldn't tell you why, but the idea of Oasis looking like a dream or a memory just fits so perfectly with how I remember Minecraft PE Lite. And I'm
Okay, I need chiseled stone bricks.
that way.
I only need 2, so I'm just gonna...
Body horror. An expansion of what I was talking about earlier with mods and blocks is the concept of body horror in general, which I think is a huge critique.
I need 8 stone bricks per section, or 8 stone brick stairs per... Like...
Strange humanoids we've come across, who, at close inspection, turn solid, or even just disappear. Chickens with no heads, or with 20. Cows that multiply en masse. What we see here is ultimately body horror at its purest form. Grotesque creatures with no place in Minecraft, and yet are right here. They're some of the scariest things about Oasis, in my opinion. Let me know your creepiest encounters with anything like this down below. Backrooms. An instant, obvious comparison that one can make with the Piss Dimension is, of course, the backrooms. There's no legitimate connection between Oasis and backrooms.
So I just can't block corners.
But I can't imagine it would be nearly enough to actually affect what Oasis understands about the game. But it is an interesting coincidence. Some of the ways that you can just slip into new places is a lot like the backrooms too, or how you can just fall out of nowhere. Dimension.
2. I just need 2
Another
blocks.
word like dreaming that I see thrown around a ton to describe Oasis is like having dementia. The game not having memories are much like forgetfulness, getting lost and ending up in places you don't belong, not being able to recognize faces of people you love.
Hell yeah.
Text, falling, getting hurt but not knowing why. I genuinely feel like with Minecraft of all things, we've gotten a legitimately unique glimpse of what life like that could appear to be.
I'm gonna put a log tower here. And I don't know how to design the back wall. Get the dimensions, hop in my creative world, and just see where that goes.
I don't think AI in this capacity is the future of gaming, despite Descartes and Etch claiming it to be. And I can't imagine this technology being pushed far enough that it could generate a fun game, but hey, it is going fast. But what I do think it could be used in is limited qualities. You know how, for some reason, tons of games have these dream sequences where you do platforming in like a stormy place with blown out pieces of ground below you floating in the air? Like somehow they can transcend all genres of music. I think we can see this technology implemented in some way like that. Imagine a controlled segment of a game where you step into a new place, a new dimension, take a drug, or something like that, and you're dropped in a place like this which uses next frame prediction with a basic objective, like encountering someone or something. It could be very interested in limited doses, I think. It also could be used to represent characters under some sort of mental decay or something, just like I talked about right before. The fog. One of the creepier parts.
Alright, so it's only 6 long, and I know this is 7 long, so I can't just do this. I don't want to just shorten it, because that's just cringe. But I feel like some doors in the back would look nice.
It's honestly just a visual thing, but I do think it's kind of creepy, and it reminds me of render distance limitations in older versions.
Want to earn cryptocurrency? Try Coinbase. Coinbase simplified.
Cursed containers. Containers often don't work quite right, either with too little or too many slots, for example, on top of them sometimes being visually messed up. Sometimes chests and other containers get conflated with the inventory or crafting menus, as shown here, which makes sense, as the pop-up screen where you see item icons are sort of similar visually, so I do get it. Beating the game. Beating the game has not yet happened, or been proven at least. By reaching the end, or starting from there with a custom image, you can sort of see the end dragon. And in fact, there was actually a challenge by Descartes to punch it, which someone did. However, the dragon usually turns into something else very quickly, so no one has had the chance to kill it yet. Does that mean it's impossible? Well, no, not necessarily. There are constant new discoveries in Oasis, and we're surprised every day by what the people in the community discover and come up with. That said, I find it pretty unlikely
9 tall.
to beat without decaying. I don't think you could use beds to kill it, for example, and I think we just wouldn't have enough time. Even if you could keep it in frame perfectly for a few minutes, I'm just not sure it would work. I think it's possible it might just die on its own, or that we maybe see bits of the explosion from when that happened. But what would happen after that? Did we actually see the end credits, or the screen that happens after you defeat the dragon? Who knows? But maybe, just maybe, we'll see in the time to come. Speedrunning. We talked about speedrunning on and off, and there are definitely lots of speedrunning categories. I do think speedrunning is possible, and even likely happen eventually. And
I'm so tired. I'm just gonna take a small break. Just pause stream.